Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Kimberly Hunter, and I am the Assistant Director and Adult Librarian for Norwalk Public Library. A typical day here is basically we are always helping customers, which we call our patrons. We start our mornings off by getting books out of the Dropbox that patrons have dropped off the day before or the morning of. We check them in. We go through our request list to see what patrons would like for us to pull for them today and process those. And then we open up the building and help patrons as they come in. Now, because of the pandemic, we are answering a lot of phone calls with asking for technology help. So we help people with their computers, laptops, iPads, mobile devices, printing, applying for jobs. Tax season is happening, so we're helping people with that. And applying for colleges as well. We are really just like an information center. So whatever question people come in and ask us, we do our best to answer those questions and find resources for them.
Great, thank you so much. Next up on my screen is Amber Jenkins. Amber, if you'd like to give a short intro on yourself.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Amber Jenkins, and I am the Workforce Administrator for Erie County, OhioMeansJobs. We are actually located inside of the Erie County Job and Family Services building. And in this building, we have a lot of different departments that we work with. We have our income maintenance department. They determine things such as food assistance, Medicaid, cash assistance. We have our fiscal department, and they handle most of our funding and grants and stuff like that. We have our children's services and our protective children's services and child support. And then we also have a probation part to our building and a satellite office to the health department. When you first walk into Job and Family Services, you will see our OhioMeansJobs resource room. And in there, we have 2 resource room workers, and they are here to help you do anything from making a resume, helping you find a job, job searching. We hold a lot of hiring events here. Our main goal is to connect people who are looking for employment to employers who are hiring. We have a lot of different resources. We have programs such as our WIOA program, where we can help you get back into schooling if you want higher education, more training, certificate, or if you just need help and guidance from a career coach, we also offer that. A big thing that I wanted to share with you guys today is our youth program that we have. And that program is for participants ages 14 to 24 in school or out of school. And this program will help anything with work experience. If you have any barriers to employment, we can help work around those. If you're just looking for higher education, we may be able to help fund that. So a lot of different resources to check out here.
Great, thank you so much, Amber. Next up on my screen, I see Patty. Patty, if you'd like to give a short introduction and kind of what a day in the life looks like for you.
Sure. I am Patty Abrigo-Naidenoff, or otherwise known as PT Patty. I am the owner of Integrative Therapeutic Healing. I am a physical therapist, a yoga instructor, and wellness practitioner. And my company is a private mobile physical therapy practice serving Erie, Huron, and Ottawa counties. And I offer solutions to pain and mobility problems simply, safely, and holistically. And a typical day for me is a little bit different than your traditional physical therapy job. So currently, a typical day for me would include teaching 2 to 3 yoga physical therapy classes, seeing private patients in 2 different locations, one in Norwalk at Adam Michaels Salon and Spa, and another at Y3 Studio in Milan, and also seeing patients in their homes. So it's a little bit different than probably what you think of if you've ever had physical therapy before, where you are going to an outpatient clinic or going to the hospital and seeing your physical therapist there. So I have had a lot of experience in those areas until I opened up my private practice 3 years ago. So that would be what you typically think of when you think of a PT, but mine, because I kind of created my own company and am doing what I want to do to be able to treat my patients in a way that is meaningful for me, as well as to be able to help them accomplish their goals. I felt it was necessary to branch out and be able to provide care in a non-traditional way. So that's me in a nutshell.
Very cool. Thank you. And then also, I think we should have Kirsten Whaley with us from Fisher Titus.
Yeah, I'm here. So good morning. So I'm at Fisher Titus Medical Center here in Norwalk, Ohio. So I am the HR intern here. So I sit in the HR office. I'm right in the front. So whenever the hospital ever opens up, I'm usually the first person that they'll see when they come in. So we serve roughly like the greater Huron County area. We have about 70,000 plus residents. We do have a variety of like physicians, primary and specialty care, as well as multiple different services that we provide. We also do have our 99-bed acute care hospital. We also have a Norwalk Memorial Home, a 69-bed skilled nursing facility, and then Carriage House, which is a 48-unit assisted living facility, as well as Home Health Center and North Central EMS. So that's kind of Fisher Titus in a little nutshell. My day-to-day is I assist any employees with any questions they have when they come into the HR office. I set up a lot of special events like today, as well as work with members of the HR team and other staff members throughout the hospital, just with any projects they have, any filing, any fun stuff like that. We do have a couple of our nurse leaders with us if they wanted to speak on their day, just because we're going to be speaking a lot about our POCT positions. So if Stephanie or MacKenzie wants to go ahead and explain their day in a life.
Hi, it's MacKenzie. I'm the critical care nurse manager at Fisher Titus. You know, a day in the life of a healthcare worker, especially now during a pandemic, is very different than what it looked like a year ago, 6 months ago. But, you know, we really still focus on patient care, taking care of those people in our community that come to the hospital in a time of need. And yeah, I mean, I've been at Fisher Titus for 7 years. I've been a nurse for over 10, and it changes all the time, but it's certainly exciting and different. And you get that instant job satisfaction of taking care of somebody and making somebody smile. So we'll talk more about the POCT position later.
This is Stephanie. I am the senior service manager at the Carriage House. In our building, a day in the life of, we have our PCAs, which are STNAs. We have activities professionals that improve, you know, quality of life for our residents. Like MacKenzie said, our building looked a lot different a year ago than it does today. But our aides help with daily activities for our residents. This is their home. We are their helpers, helping with, you know, showering, dressing, medications. Then we have, like I said, our activities professionals that help quality of life, taking them to, when we can, out to places in the community and shopping and doing things to keep them stimulated in the building throughout the day. But we become a family here. You know, these guys adopt you as daughters and sons and granddaughters and grandsons. But we just really work to keep their quality of life and normalcy as much as we possibly can. Very rewarding.
I'm sure, yes. Great, thank you so much. Megan and Susie, I'm not sure if you guys wanted to share also, or if you were here as audience members, or you're more than welcome to talk about your day in the life if you'd like.
Since we already did that in the introduction, we'll just stick around for questions if anyone has questions.
Perfect, that sounds great. All right, the next question that I have for our panelists as we're moving right along here is basically, how did you get to where you are in your job? What did the path look like? What kind of education did you have? And did you always know that you were interested in this field, or did you kind of find it along the way? You know, if maybe Amber, you want to start first?
Absolutely. So I really did not know what I wanted to do. I explored a lot of different careers, and then one day, the frontline position actually in the resource room, that position came open and I applied for it. And I actually did not get the job the first time I applied. The position came open again. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to try it again. This sounds like something that I might be interested in, get my foot in the door. So I applied again and I did get the job. So, never give up on that. Interviewing is hard. It's hard to get through. But once you get to it, it's well worth it. So just never give up on that. I worked in the resource room then for about a year, helping people find jobs, helping employers find people to hire, doing hiring events, stuff like that. After about a year, I was then promoted to an eligibility caseworker, where I determined food assistance, Medicaid, cash assistance. I did that for about 6 years. And then at that point, the director of the building approached me and asked if I wanted to take on the role of the workforce development administrator. So I took on that role. I've been in this position for about a year now, and I absolutely love it. Starting off in the resource room, I kind of knew what I was getting into. I love helping people find their career paths and reach the goals that they want to in life.
Great, thank you so much. Patty, would you like to talk about your path to owning your own business and everything you do now?
Sure. So my mother was a physician. She was a pediatrician in Elyria, and I knew I wanted to go into the medical field like her. So in high school, I volunteered at the Elyria Memorial Hospital there and just kind of looked around and just observed all kinds of positions throughout the hospital. So I found physical therapy, and actually periodically through high school for different injuries, I was attending physical therapy myself. So I was familiar with what they did. So I had decided, I think I was either a junior or senior in high school, that I wanted to become a physical therapist. And I went to Ohio University to, they had a PT program at the time, and my plan was to go for undergraduate there and go to their PT program there. And when I went to OU, their their majors for physical therapy were pre-physical therapy and psychology, or pre-physical therapy and biology. And knowing that PT school was very competitive, I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to get into school. So, and then I said, well, I don't want to be a psychologist or a biologist. So I double majored and decided to major in health administration in hopes that one day I would own my own practice like I do now. So I did my undergraduate at Ohio University, and because I was double majoring, I was taking too many classes to be able to enter the program for PT school at OU. So I decided to apply elsewhere, which I did apply to, I believe, 10 different schools, and got accepted to 2 of them, got waitlisted at 1, and ended up going to the Virginia Commonwealth University Medical College of Virginia in Richmond. So I attended that for physical therapy school, and that was a 3-year program, and graduated in 1999 from there, and got my license and worked and moved to South Florida at the time. So I lived in South Florida for about 10 years. My first job was at a chiropractor's office, and then from there, I worked at many different other outpatient facilities, such as a workers' compensation clinic doing industrial health, other privately owned practices. Some were affiliated with doctors' offices and orthopedic surgeons' offices, and eventually moved back to Ohio in 2008 and to the Norwalk area, and that's where I live now. And I got a job at Firelands Regional Medical Center as the inpatient rehab physical therapy supervisor. So I was in that department for a couple of years before going back to outpatient, which is my main area of practice. And I ran their satellite clinic in Norwalk for 7 years, and decided that I wanted to try to branch out and do my own thing and be able to see patients in a little bit different way that was a little more meaningful for how I was practicing and being able to do more community education and integrating yoga into my practice as well. So I started my own business, Integrated Therapeutic Healing. And at the time too, when I left Firelands, I had joined or was employed by a home health agency. So I was providing home care, which allowed me to be more flexible, to make my own schedule so that I could see my own patients privately through my own practice a little bit easier than if I was still working for the hospital. So that's kind of where I ended up today. And my private practice that was a side hustle 3 years ago has now pretty much become my full-time job.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I do want to make sure we go back. I saw Trisha had raised their hand. Do you have a question? Please feel free to just unmute yourself and ask if you do.
Did you, I can't think of what I want to say. I'm sorry. When you first started, did you know like what exactly you wanted to do when you got into the medical field, or?
Yes, I did. So that's where I had known back when I was volunteering at the hospital in Elyria that I wanted to go into physical therapy. So that's where I recommend that if you want to go into the medical field, but you're not really sure what you want to do, that I would go and job shadow or volunteer somewhere. Now I know with COVID that hasn't been an option, and it's been really difficult to do. I actually have a student right now. So she is a freshman in college, and she's not going to school on campus. So she's been home. And so she's had the opportunity to job shadow with me. So it, because it's my own business and I kind of make my own rules, I'm able to safely have her job shadow me, as long as it's okay with the patients that I'm treating as well. So I don't know if that answers your question of if you're trying to decide kind of where to go in the medical field.
I do have one more question. When you say physical therapy, does that include massage therapy like my mom practices?
So physical therapists are trained in a lot of different manual therapy techniques. So massage therapy does include or manual therapy techniques can be anything from massage therapy, joint mobilizations like a chiropractor does, myofascial release, which is a form of massage therapy as well. A lot of hands-on work. Now, all physical therapists are trained to do that. So I actually am specialized in doing manual therapy. So I did a lot of postgraduate continuing education courses to enhance my skills in that. And you can actually become certified as a manual physical therapist after you graduate from school.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
Great question. Thank you very much. Next, would you like to talk about kind of your path and how you got to where you are?
Yes. So I, at a very young age, always wanted to be an architect. And obviously that's not what I'm doing right now. But it wasn't until I got to college that I realized that that wasn't what I wanted. I love learning about architecture and art, but I didn't have that design skill that was needed to actually design buildings and different things. So it took me a little bit in college. My next love that I realized in math, that I really like math, I really like solving problems, but that also didn't work out. So I moved to my next thought of religious studies. Religion, most people don't think of it as more than just Christianity and different things like that, but religious studies, comparative religion helped me learn that you can combine art and math in different things and study society. And I absolutely love that. So I graduated from Miami University in Ohio with, cool, with a comparative religion degree and a minor in math, just so I could have all those credits used. Starting there, I always knew that I wanted to help people. So after that, I wasn't really sure what to do with a comparative religion degree. I didn't want to be like my mom, who was a pastor. Speaking in public isn't what I would like to do.
You're doing a great job.
Thanks. So I just thought I would go into retail. I really like helping people. I like the customer service aspect of it. I love people coming in and asking, oh, what should I do with this? Does this work? But the hours in retail weren't for me. So I moved to student services and financial aid because of the math part of it. Again, I love working with money. So I did financial aid for a little bit. That was very time consuming. So on a whim, I think I applied for a night job at John Carroll University in their library as an evening supervisor. From there, I just really liked the libraries. I liked working with students, helping them figure out the path that worked for them. Because of all the things that I went through while I was in college, I was able to help navigate my student workers to do that as well. That is a academic library. So I also took a part-time job at Cleveland Public Library during the day. So I worked in that public library atmosphere too. And that's where I learned, I was a computer aide there. So that's where I would help people with technology, working on the computers, applying for jobs. I used my background in financial aid to help people apply for colleges and financial aid. Just gave them some, off the record advice on how to go through that. Because a lot of times you don't get that individualized advice when you go to your advisors in school. So sometimes people come to the library just to kind of like breathe and get that extra help. So I realized that my interests vary. I could be interested in flowers one day and then like buildings another day. And the library just gives me that opportunity to have people come in, ask questions, and I can just deep dive into whatever interests them and myself for that day, for that month, for that year. So after leaving those two jobs, I moved to Dallas to work at SMU, which is Southern Methodist University, at their theological library. So I was in charge of circulation, which is checking out books, checking in books, making sure the building is okay, and working with their special collection. So we had a ton of old Bibles. We had a Chinese Torah scroll from the 17th century. I got to see a lot of fantastic historical things to, again, pique my interest of different things that I was interested in, different arts, architecture, and things like that. I didn't get, there is a degree in library science, but I didn't even earn that until December of 2019. A lot of people in this field go into the libraries from high school. They work in the library as a page who puts books away, or a computer aide like I did, who helps people on the computers, or a clerk who checks people in and out. And then they work there until they retire. And I've known people who've retired at age 50 because they've gotten their years in and at the library, and they're able to retire early. So there are tons of different paths in the library. I've worked, like I mentioned before, in the academic setting and the public setting, but you have different types of libraries as well. My mom worked as a consultant for a business library. So all she did was just collect information for business people so that they could do presentations, collect information, get bids and different things for their business associates. You could work in the law library. You could work for the Library of Congress. You can work in the government library. You could work in a museum. Those are the different types of things that you can do, which I plan to do, hopefully. And just, we have a genealogy and local history department here at our library. So I love learning about history and different things. So I'm going to work with our librarian here to get information on that. Like I mentioned, you can get a degree. I got my degree from Kent State University. It was all online, and I actually graduated right before the pandemic happened. So it was before, I guess, everything went online, but it was a really good experience. Most jobs let you work while, or go to school while you're working. They pay for that education. So most of my my master's degree was paid for by my previous employer. So I didn't have to worry about student loans or anything like that. So basically I am not sure. I still don't know what I want to do in life, but I know that I enjoy helping people, and the library has given me that opportunity to help people no matter what my interests are for that day.
Well, you make me want to work in the libraries. That sounds awesome. Thank you very much. I want to turn next to Kirsten and then also to MacKenzie or Stephanie. If you'd also like to jump in, you'd be more than welcome to.
I say I will let MacKenzie and Stephanie talk. I will say I'm still in school, so the only thing I will say is that internships are great. So if you get the chance to do an internship, definitely take it. But I will leave it to MacKenzie and Stephanie.
Thanks.
Okay, well, I kind of knew I wanted to get in healthcare in high school. I had a lot of personal events that happened with my family. And just those experiences that I, as a student at the time, experienced really made me want to get into healthcare. And I knew right away I wanted to do nursing. So I started nursing school right after high school. It's kind of hard to think I graduated before I was even 18 years old. So an 18-year-old going to nursing school is a little intimidating, but you know, when you know what you want to do, you just stick to it and you do it. And I will say one of the things that I started as a floor nurse. I did my time. I did night shift for a couple of years, and then I came to day shift. And in my 10 years of nursing, I've experienced pediatrics, I've experienced critical care, I went to the health department in Huron County for a couple of years, inpatient surgery. There's just so many different options within healthcare that even if you don't know what you want to do right away, there's always an opportunity to change or to find something that you like or to cross train. I don't really know any organization right now that will tell you, no, you have to stick with your one job. You can't learn any others. So I will say that I know at Fisher Titus, a lot of our nurses aides, they are in nursing school. So it's a good bridge for them to kind of get in there, get familiar with the environment, and then kind of decide in that moment, you know, where they want to go, inpatient hospital to our long-term care facilities to different areas of healthcare. But me personally, I'm also a Kent State graduate. I got my master's there and my bachelor's. It's all sorts of different learning. But yeah, it's just, you can always change your mind. If you don't like it, there's different options. And usually your organization, wherever you decide to go, will support you in getting you to where you want to be.
Thank you. Stephanie?
Yeah, so my journey started when I was in school. I also wanted to be a PT due to some family stuff influence. But when I got to college and I started in my PT classes, I realized that really wasn't the path I wanted to take. So I started looking around and talking with my advisors, and I found a degree called recreational therapy. So I went and pursued that, and that turned out to be awesome for me because you can utilize that in just about any setting. I went to the University of Toledo for that, and they offered so many opportunities to give you a look at all areas. So we were able to work in psychiatric, geriatric, rehab, pediatrics. They put us into every setting, so you had the opportunity to see where you wanted to go and what you liked. So I graduated with that degree, and I ended up starting in a school called Spectrum. It's a charter school for autistic kids doing their community reintegration. So I worked with the older kids at the school and taught them how to function in society independently. Most of those kids still depended on their parents and their families very heavily. So I worked with them to become more independent and be able to be on their own in the community. I loved that job. Those kids were great. But then some things came up that I found the job here at Fisher Titus. I actually took a position as the activities coordinator here at Carriage House for the assisted living. I love the geriatric population also. I've been here, this summer will be 13 years for me. I did the activities for 11 of those years, and 2 years ago I took over as the manager here at the Carriage House. It's been fun. These residents are amazing. Like I said, they become your family, and it's really a joy to learn from these people. With this population, there's always something to learn, and they're willing to teach. So yeah, like everyone has said, there's always a way to find what you like. Like I said, with our clinicals experiences in college, we got to try every demographic that there is out there just to find what we liked the best. My journey has been pretty straight and narrow. I found where I like to be, and I stayed there. Like MacKenzie said, Fisher Titus is very accommodating and willing to teach you or let you try out different areas and expand your knowledge and expand your abilities. So I have definitely experienced that, and I love where I'm at. These are family. Our PCAs and our STNAs and our other aides here, like MacKenzie said, they're usually getting their feet wet and looking to see. Some of them go on to nursing school and stay in long-term care as RNs and LPNs. Some of them are lifelong STNAs. They just like serving the people and being able to help take care of them and make their quality of life the best there is. That's kind of my journey.
That's awesome. Thank you. Trisha, you had another question?
Yes. I remember my aunt, who I think works at Fisher Titus, mentioning something about travel nurses. What is that exactly?
Travel nursing is you work for an agency company, so you don't necessarily work for an organization, but an agency company, and it's kind of like you can choose your assignments. You go through the interview process quite frequently. Usually a travel nurse takes a 8 to 12 week assignment. So about every couple of weeks, you're probably getting ready, towards the end of your current assignment, getting ready for a new assignment. So you're doing the interview process again. But you can travel kind of how you want, either through the state of Ohio, you can get licenses to other states. And you can travel across the United States, go to different organizations. It is a very accelerated process. So I don't personally recommend that for someone that's new to nursing. You really need to have some experience because you kind of get thrown to the wolves. You get 1 or 2 days of orientation and you're on your own. And that's very challenging for somebody that's new to nursing. You kind of have to have your skills and time management and everything else down prior to doing that. Is it impossible? No, but can be very difficult.
All right, thank you.
No problem.
All right, we have just a couple minutes left here before the overall meeting is ended. So if any of our panelists have any final thoughts or pieces of advice that they'd like to give, or if we have any further questions, now would be a perfect time for that. If we do not, though, I will say thank you very much. I think this has been a great conversation, and I really appreciate all of our panelists taking time out of their busy days to come and speak with us all. So thank you to you guys, and I really appreciate it. Students, to join us for the 3rd hour, all you need to do is log off of this meeting, find your Zoom link for hour 3, and you can join us there, and we'll get started in a couple minutes there. And hopefully, fingers crossed, knock on wood, everything goes a little smoother than this time. So I really appreciate all of you sticking with us, and I hope you have a good rest of your morning.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me. Good
Thank
luck
you.
to all of you.
Thank you. Good luck.